Hi viewers, welcome to the second section of the course. It's all about your connections, social network analysis. This section covers the video to make sense of social network data. R provides multiple packages to manipulate social network data. We address the most prominent of these, iGraph. Further, we'll create adjacency matrices and edge lists and plotting social network data. Lastly, we'll compute the important network metrics. Now we move on to the first video of this section that deals with downloading social network data using public APIs. In this video, we cover the process of downloading data from meetup.com using their public API. Social networking websites provide public APIs to enable us to download the data. You can adapt this basic approach to download data from other websites. In this video, we'll get the data in JSON format and then import it into our data frame. We'll download data from meetup.com. To gain access to the data, we need to be a member of a few groups. So, if you don't have an account on this website, that is meetup.com, then you'll have to sign up and become a member of a couple of groups. You need your own API key to download data through scripts. So, get your own by clicking on the API key link from this link. Copy the key and paste it in the notepad. Then save the key. You can replicate the steps in this video without additional information. However, if you would like more details, you can read about the API at this link. Now, download the groups.json file and place it in your R working directory. Download information about meetup groups that satisfy certain criteria. This website allows you to download data from their console by filling up fields to define your criteria. Alternatively, you can also construct a suitable URL to directly get the data. We first take you through the steps to get the data from the console. We describe the way to use R scripts that use URLs for large data volumes. Let's begin with getting a list of groups. Visit this website. Click on the Console tab, and then click on the first link that appears under V2 Groups, that is, Get to Groups. Now enter the topic you're interested in. In our case, we're using hiking. Also, enter your 2-character ISO country code. Visit this link for the list of ISO country codes. As we are using United States and city or zip code used as 08816. You can specify radius to restrict the number of groups returned. 25 radius is specified in our case. Next, click on Show Response to see the results. If you get an error, try with different values. If you use different selection criteria, you may see many groups. From the earlier results, you'll notice information on many attributes for each group. You can use the Only field to get some of these attributes. For example, to get only the group ID, name, and number of members, enter ID, name, members in the Only text box. Note that there is no space after the commas. You can also get information using a URL directly, but you'll need to use your API key for this. Let's take an example. This URL gets the ID, name, and number of members for all hiking-related groups in Amsterdam, NL. Use this link and replace your API key with the API key we downloaded earlier. Now, copy this link and paste on your browser. You'll note that the results look different in the console when using the URL directly, but this is just a formatting issue. The console pretty prints the JSON, whereas we see unformatted JSON when we use a URL. We'll now save the downloaded data. The process depends on whether you use the console approach in Step 2 or the URL approach in Step 3. If you use the console approach, that is approach you should select the block of text starting with the first curly braces before the results and ending with the very last curly brace. Now, we paste the copied text into a text editor, in our case we're using Notepad, and save the file as groups.json. On the other hand, if you use the URL approach, that is this one, of Step 3, right-click and select Save As to save the displayed results as a file named group.json in your R working directory. You can also use the groups.json file that you downloaded earlier. We'll now load the data from the saved JSON file into an R data frame. First, we load the JSON Lite library. Post that, we need to type these lines of code. This code loads the JSON data file into an R data frame using the from JSON function in the JSON Lite package. The returned object, dat.1, contains the results in the results element, and we assign dat.1 $results, that is a data frame, to the variable groups. For each group, we'll now use the meetup.com API to download member information into a data frame called users. Among the code files that you downloaded for this section is a file called rdacp.getusers.r. For each group from our list of groups, this code uses the meetup.com API to get the group's members. It generates a data frame with the set of group_ID, user_ID pairs. In this command, we replace API key with our actual API key that we've saved earlier. Be sure to enclose the key in double quotes, and also make sure that you do not have any angle brackets in the command. Let's run this command. Oops, we encountered an error. No problem, we can solve it by just including the rc URL package. Try to run the same code again. This command can take a while to execute because of the sheer number of web requests and the volume of data involved. Code creates a data frame with the variables as group ID and user ID. This code uses the rdacb.getUsers convenience function to iterate through each group and get its members. The function constructs the appropriate API URL using group ID. Since each call returns only a fixed number of users, the while loop of the function iterates till it gets all the users. The next element of the results return tells us if the group has more members. There can be groups with no members, and hence we check if temp $results returns a data frame. The API returns groups and user IDs, as they are in meetup.com. Some of the steps in subsequent videos can take a lot of processing time if you run them on a complete network. Using a smaller network will suffice for illustration. All the files from the social media are downloaded. As you can see here, there are 180 groups. At this point, we have the data for a very large social network. Subsequent videos in this section use the social network that we create in this video. Therefore, uses data.table to retain only members who belong to more than 16 groups. This step uses data table library. If you would like to work with the complete network, execute the users equals to members command and skip to the next without executing these two code lines. To avoid this error, we need to include the data.table library. Now, we run the next command. In the final step, we save the members data before further processing with this line of code. This step saves the member data in a file for possible future use. We now have a two-mode network, where the first mode is a set of groups, and the second mode is the list of members. From this, we can either create a network of users based on common group memberships, or a network of groups based on common members. We've created a data frame in which each row represents a membership of an individual user in a group. From this information, we can create representations of social networks. In this video, we've downloaded social network data using public APIs.